Okay, so why don't we start with introductions. My name is Margarita Zalaga, and I'm with the Department of Social Services Community Action Partnership, and I'm one of the 3 people that are working as a team to monitor the Lapis Road permitted parking for 90 days. So let's go along.
Good afternoon, I'm Glorietta Rowland, and I am part of the Community Action Partnership team.
Lawrence Duwansupa, also part of the Community Action Team Partnership team for the Department of Social Services.
I'm Rob Carson, I'm a resident.
Okay.
I'm Becky Johnson, and I'm a resident who's a supporter of the Lapis Road homeowners.
Right, association.
Charles McCall, I'm a resident. I live in Salinas, and I'm part of the Lapis Road community.
Okay.
I'm Wendy Askew, and I work with Supervisor Parker, and I live in Marina.
I'm Wes White, I'm president of Salinas Homeless Union. I kind of instigated a little bit of this homeowners association, and just trying to help.
Florence, and I need to sign up for the permit yet, but I'm part of the Lapis and I haven't been there for a while because I've been elsewhere taking care of some stuff.
Okay. I think I spoke to you, huh,
Yeah.
Florence?
Yeah, and I got my information today to register, you know, with my RV, because my problem was I never had the paperwork on me or anything when I would run into you guys out there on the road. And I go, I gotta get it, I brought it in today.
Okay. Okay, there was someone there all the time. VTC has some staff that come every morning and every afternoon.
They're always
Try
there
to
right at
catch
6
somebody.
o'clock.
6
Right at
o'clock
6.
and also 10 a.m.
Right. So if it's not with them, you can do it with us. We're there Tuesdays and Thursdays. And they're there the rest of the week. The rest of the 7 days of the week. Okay?
Well, it's hard for me to drive my RV around constantly, so it's hard. I'm staying in Salinas at the Central Park right now and looking for another place to move to where I can stay like 3 full days because my battery keeps just going on and off. So
Yeah.
it's hard because my RV just stops now
Yeah.
because of all the driving I've been doing before, trying to find a space to park, and now it's just wearing down to where, you
Well,
know,
thank you
I
for
have to
being
park
here.
most of the time still, afraid to be broken down. It was very embarrassing when you know, your battery just goes and everything just locks up on you and you're in the middle of the intersection and
Yeah.
everybody's honking you, and then you see
Oh,
like
man.
2 cop cars coming towards you going, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
It's
Thank you for
definitely-
being here. So let's do.
My name is Sherry Evans. I am a resident out there on Lapis Road.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for being here. So we heard that that all of you residents of Lapis Road or other places are interested in knowing what the county is doing in terms of a safe parking program. So we're here to give you some information and to answer some of your questions and to let you know what are our plans and what we're working on and get your input. Okay, so Lauren, do you want to go from here or?
Well, I think that you're also very invested in trying to make sure that you as stakeholders in all of this can provide your input and your point of view as to, you know, what's needed here, what you know, the direction that, you know, would work best for the people who are experiencing this firsthand. So, you know, we're really here also, I think, we're really here primarily to listen.
Just to get your input on.
So maybe it will help if we tell you what the sequence of events have been. So we have been meeting with Supervisor Parker and other stakeholders about a safe parking program. This has been a conversation for the last year, more or less. And in the middle of this, Lapis Road came up and said, what's happening? We are receiving constant community complaints. The garbage, debris and everything is a problem, and we need to do something about it.
We know all that stuff because we live out there,
Right.
so that's a whole section of conversation that doesn't, we've been talking about that over,
That we don't need
over and
to
over,
talk.
all the stuff you just said, over and over and over.
Okay.
So we
okay.
can just bypass all that. and
Let
get
me
to the meat.
bypass that. So because of that, we, the county was directed by the board to implement a temporary parking program, which is the program that we've been working on for the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, where we issue a permit if your RV is registered and everything is operational and you follow the rules, no littering, and moving your vehicle between 10 and 6 p.m. Every day, and then you can park between 6 p.m. and 10 a.m. at night. So that's the program for 90 days.
I have a comment to make on that.
Sure.
Not this Tuesday, but a week ago Tuesday, I went to the board of supervisors in Salinas. I had surgery on my belt, sorry, I can't talk to you.
That's fine.
Went to the board of supervisors, and I told them, without enforcement, there's no compliance. You can have all the wonderful programs, but adults still need supervision. And the only people that's going to do it is the sheriff's department. Even to this day, we still have people come out at night. We're having new arrivals. from
All the
other
new
cities.
arrivals, if they're for one day, they get a permit.
They get a permit.
There was 4 within a week, they all got permits, all of them stayed.
You know,
I even talked to them, and they were
Registration
so
period
rude
should-
about staying.
I told the board of supervisors, they gave me my 2 minutes. And I says, we need to stop the registrations because people are coming in every day. You're gonna need a parking lot bigger than a football stadium. Because people are, hey, the word's out, go to Marina and get 2 months free parking.
The
Not-
media.
not for the
media
people that are
got
here. And, okay, that's one problem. Okay, you have insurance? Great, here's your free parking for 2 months. Oh, I have to leave? Nobody leaves. There's 30 people out there with those brown permits, and there's 15 of them that never leave every day. To this day, you go right there right now, there's going to be 20 RVs.
And there wasn't, the sheriff's department was there, and there wasn't actual enforcement. So it's been a week, almost a week, and they came, and they were just warning people, and the silver bullet was there, the people that have, their tags are out by 6 years, and they're the ones that created the junkyard. It was 60 feet
They're
long,
the ones who got kicked out
and
of it.
they didn't get towed. Okay.
So things have been happening since that. You
Today was the
probably
first
are.
day in probably 3 weeks we really had the police get out of their car and say hello.
Yeah, it is, and I've seen them drive through and do nothing.
People don't have the money, and so they're not moving until they're told by a policeman to move, even though
Yeah.
they'll sell their
Okay.
soul.
And wait, I want to give a little example here. I have a large diesel pusher RV, okay, it's like a small tour bus. $30 a week in fuel just to drive to the Walmart and back. I can't afford that.
There's a misconception that our RVs get 30 miles to the gallon. Try 5 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
Yeah, $3+ a gallon.
And that's on the highway.
That's on the highway.
Yeah, I'm talking like, much, much worse than that, driving through town, at first and second gear.
Some people have been already told to leave Walmart. And the city, when you come through the main gate here, right after the entrance, there's a sign that says from Seaside, no RV parking. You go to Marina, there's no RV parking on the public roads. And the only place technically you can park without getting a ticket is at some of the shopping centers, and they have limitations on time period. So if we find a spot here on post, oh, you can't be there between 10 and 6. I don't have a magic wand to find a spot to go to. We don't have the money to drive 30, 40 miles to find a spot. if we have a spot right here, all we're gonna do is, go in the back road of Fort Ord and park on the side of the road over there until 6 o'clock and then come back over here. There's no legal place for somebody to park.
Is that your intent?
So I think we should try and organize some of this discussion a little bit, because we're really talking a lot about what's happening on Lapis Road. And I think we need to also remember that the allowance, the permitted parking on Lapis Road is temporary. And what we're trying to work with is putting in place something that is a little bit more formalized. And we want to kind of talk with you about what that will look like. Because we, at this point, we don't have direction to continue efforts at Lapis Road.
We need a level and.
Harry, let some other
Yeah.
people talk.
Oh, somebody else's turn.
Yeah.
Who was
No,
talking?
I just wanted to talk on the long term, after the temporary is up on Lapis. That's my focus right now, because that's gonna be more of either temporary or transition. Some people choose to live in RV, so what happens to those people that choose to live in the RV and they're in this program? Is it gonna be temporarily where they only have a certain time to stay?
And the program that we are planning for,
Yes.
for December?
So why don't we pass out the request for qualifications? So in order to look for a provider that would oversee the service for the parking program, the county put out this request for qualifications, looking for a program operator who met certain requirements that many different departments, not just ourselves as from social services, but also, thinking of things from public works background. We had a lot of input from the legal perspective, from county council, help put this together in order to make sure that many different functional needs were incorporated into this. So what you have in your hands is what went out. They were due August 18th, as it says on the cover sheet. That's the closing date for when proposals were to be received. So just to kind of give you a little bit of idea, maybe we could look through what the qualification, what we were looking for a little bit, so you can kind of get familiar with what we're trying to.
Some of the intent of the
Yeah.
program.
Yeah.
I only had up to page 8, page 9.
Oh, is something missing?
Yeah, just up to page 9.
9,
Oh.
he's missing one page.
There is, I think it's like a 40-page document. We
Oh,
only
that's
print out the
just
scope of work portion, but the whole thing is available online, and Lori can print a copy of the whole. The rest of it's like all the insurance requirements for the person who applies and the application process, but this was the part that we thought was most relevant.
Right, that'll talk more about exactly what the proposed vendor would do. The additional documents are a lot about what kind of insurance qualifications they need and registration things they need. Okay.
So I've been tripping on what Harry's been worried about, about this, the people staying during the day. But when these two guys started talking about it right now, it's the violators that he's worried about, because they've been, you need to be able to have it. I think this whole concept to begin with is wrong, because it needs to be 24 hours, it can't just be overnight. And so that in a nutshell is a problem. We can plug a problem, where can they go during the day? Everywhere is not allowed, and what he's trying to do is, they're following rules, and that's why they're vacating. They're spending and sacrificing to vacate and follow the rules, and then here's all these other jerk-offs doing nothing.
Can I say something? And I know we're not going to repeat the Lapis Road situation right now, but things are about to change on Lapis Road. The sheriff's department just got an approval for a no parking ordinance, and all those vehicles that are not permitted on Lapis Road will be towed away, and citations are gonna be issued.
And what is the other consequence of that? If they get a citation, are they also restricted from coming back to Lapis Road at all?
Yes. they
Right,
will be.
okay, so eventually, this is gonna whittle out just about everybody. We're gonna do process of elimination either by,
Come the end of November, that will be the case.
But there are people there now who are never, ever allowed on Lapis Road, right now.
Yes.
And those guys didn't tow them today.
They're going to start.
So just to
Yeah, but they
explain a
warned
little
them
bit
not
of
to come back.
to explain a little bit of background on that, and that when the board gave the permission for this program, what it did was kind of leave this this vague area for law enforcement to be able to enforce that tow-away zone rule. The additional measure that, or not measure, ordinance that was passed this last Tuesday gave the sheriffs now that, reissued that
It's
authority
an
to be able
emergency
to
no
do
parking.
that.
I know that.
Right.
Because
Yeah, it's
now
emergency
they
no
can
parking
enforce
zone, just
those
like a
citations.
fire.
So now they
Right.
can enforce
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Now they can
So,
enforce.
so prior to this last Tuesday, there really was no ability to enforce. Now, we keep trying to say it because we wanted to hold the integrity of this program and to those who were following the rules. But the enforcement piece was missing, honestly, and we acknowledge that,
Right.
which is why what happened on Tuesday happened. So, and we're here as the arm of social services trying to help, pull together the vendor of it. The enforcement arm really is law enforcement.
Okay.
And,
What I have the problem with is that in writing, because you have to maintain your integrity and consistency and, whatever liability, but that leaves that discretion. And we already know that it's about, from social services, you would prefer law enforcement use discretion and not actually enforce it unless there's an actual compelling need. But it's in the law, so therefore it doesn't matter. We don't have to have a heart. You kidding me? That's what needs to change.
right.
Because we're gonna end up having these people get towed. And now they're without a vehicle and they're even more shelter and homeless worthy and lesser than, because at least if with an RV you got something.
There's another thing. The reason why I haven't been parking at Lapis is because I take all these pills. Anxiety, fibromyalgia, depression. No, I don't do that. Anyway, it takes a lot to skip my prescription just so I could drive from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. out there. Yeah, I don't take my prescription, it takes a toll on me. I can't even, my fibromyalgia gets so bad, I can't even take showers at times when I'm able to take showers, which is hardly ever, but sometimes it's just hard for me to sit down comfortably or stand or even walk because of the fibromyalgia is that bad. So there's people like myself that even take more than this. They're more doped up than I am. These three dope me up pretty darn good because I'm not a pill popper. So my thing is, I know it's a short term with Lapis. However, that's why I haven't stayed in Lapis, because I'm able to stay in other places for three nights and then I have to move 350 degrees. Now I'll move that in the morning because I've been working with the cops on that because they know me. So I'm allowed to wait until the morning and then I move 350, then I have to take my medicine. For 3 days I could take my medicine and then do early in the morning before I move 350 feet. As opposed to skipping 3 weeks already now. Haven't been able to make my colonoscopy because I haven't been near Marina to take a bus into Ryan's Ranch. So, I mean, these are the things that is not being considered. People that are on these prescriptions, they force themselves to have to pack up their RV, drive into town, and it scares them because they're putting their life on the line, being on prescription, driving their RV, and other people's life on the line as well. It's not just our life, there's other people out there that might get hurt. So that's that's why I haven't been staying at Lapis. I can't afford to be skipping 2 or 3 weeks of medication so that I could be able to drive from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Right. Okay, so I have a note on.
So what is the public health and safety that is being alleviated by making these people move from 10 in the morning to 6 p.m.? What is the county's position for why these people have to be
It's the
there?
value.
Can I ask
I'm
them?
sorry. I was
Well,
trying to help.
basically, you're not allowed to camp for 24 hours in any location in a vehicle there, so that's why that's the ordinance that does not allow that continuous parking. They did
There's a
enact this
camping
emergency
ordinance?
Camping and parking ordinance. So you
Okay,
can't
now,
park,
on
so
the
you-
literature you had a trespassing ordinance and you had the lodging ordinance. I didn't see a camping ordinance.
There are signs that say no camping.
Yes, there are
and
signs that say
parking.
no
Private
camp,
property,
no
though.
overnight camping, I think it says.
If there's private property or it's condoned on whatever property, then those ordinances don't matter.
Right, I don't know that we can
Yeah, so
speak
we're
to
not the
why.
legal-
Yeah, no,
We're
The county
okay,
owns
right
20 feet.
background.
so we do know that it's temporary, the
So,
sun's
so
ending
basically,
November
can I
1st.
finish here, please? The reason that these people have to move is because of the county's own law that is being violated if a person stays in one place longer than 24 hours, is that what you say?
So
Because I
they're
thought
not
they could park there for 72 hours
72
and
hours.
not violate the county law or cause any public or health or safety hazard.
The understanding is on that road, it wasn't permitted at all. And the permission was given for those hours, those
It's
specified
not legal to
hours.
park on that road, I thought that was legal to park on the right of way on Lapis Road.
Yeah, now let me just comment on this. So
That seems like incorrect what you
code
just said.
enforcement used to come out and ticket, well, they wouldn't ticket, they would put stickers on for 72 hours. Now, recently, the sheriff's department came out with trespassing and, what was the other part of the trespassing? No lodging.
Lodging,
And
trespassing and lodging.
Yeah, I think the trespassing part of that has to be activated by a private person, but they said, no, that's not true.
It's public
The county,
property.
it's public property, so we can say that.
So it's the county that would have to decide, we decide we don't want anybody there, so we're going to pass a law, basically, and say you can't be there at any time, and then maybe we'll permit you to be in there
Okay.
at some odd times.
Well,
Is
I
that what's
honestly, I
going
don't know
on?
that we're,
So
we're
that's
the
the
right
crisis, the crisis
department
is
to
county.
address
you're not
any of those
generated?
issues.
Yeah.
So,
We don't have that, and you probably
Yeah,
maybe
this-
know more on that topic than we do.
this
don't
meeting
wanna
is
get
about a
into-
safe parking program and what we can do to help the safe parking program implement their policies and procedures on how the people in the program get treated.
Not even, but if I could just chime in really quick, I think, so the county's currently negotiating the contract with the vendor. And so as the county negotiates that contract, are there things, and they're basing that negotiation off of this RFQ. So if there's information, if there's things that you want to see considered as that negotiation takes place, this is the time to tell our staff what it is that you want to see them negotiate. They can't promise anything, but they are here to listen and then take that feedback and as it's possible to incorporate into the negotiation. So later on, there'll be a draft copy of that contract that will ultimately go to the Board of Supervisors. We haven't seen it, we're not part of that negotiation. We'll see it when it shows up on a board agenda, the same time that you see it. But you have this opportunity right now to provide your feedback for them as they negotiate that contract.
There's also one thing else that I'd like to add on top of that, is that the contract that we are working to negotiate right now, that we're in progress of working at, is set also to be temporary. As we put this out, we learned of some environmental
Quality Act.
CEQA,
Right.
that regulations that really kind of
Over
limited
time.
the use of the land and what needs to happen before the land can be used for certain functions. We learned that we can still move forward with our plan as long as that it's looked at as an emergency program and temporary. That doesn't mean that we're not still trying to work at something that's even still more permanent. But just so you know, right now, we are in negotiations with that vendor, looking at things for a 1-year period of time. So
Where is it,
even,
by the
So you
way?
do have somebody.
sorry.
yeah, that's
who's-
okay, we can
You did
share
have someone
the
who
potential
submitted
location,
the
right?
RFQ.
Yeah, our potential location is this parking lot right here.
I don't think we
Which-
can get in there.
Yeah.
Okay, probably said that, right?
In reference to the rules about the 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on all locations, that's acceptable. But if there's a location that's considered a safe parking area, that 10 to 6 should not apply to this one location.
Can you suggest
Or
what
all other
would be the
locations
most prime
come
or
back.
ideal hours
That's the
of
rule.
a
But
program?
in a
If it,
designated location, that should not be looked at. So they can, because people are gonna have to drive 30 plus miles one way each day to find a legal parking spot.
So I've definitely put down many times already about the program, the desire for the program to be 24 hours. In the event that a program is not 24 hours, is there a discussion around reasonable or suggested hours?
It's a can of worms, because
Well-
people are gonna be driving everywhere.
I suppose that
Getting into
Everybody's
trouble.
gonna have
Chicken
different
is a
shifts, because if they got jobs, if they got school, they got different shifts. We also have to always consider
That's
people
good
like
to know as
myself
well.
on prescription.
Should discuss.
I mean, do you want us driving out there all doped up and everything? And we do deserve to be taking care of ourselves and everything. And, oh, and by the way, I don't consider myself homeless. I got a home, it's a mobile home. I'm not a homeless person. You know, unless, you know, the RV gets taken away from me because of the screwed up program that is being laid out there. But as far as on my end, I'm not gonna lose my RV because I've been doing everything legal and I'm spending every bit of penny to keep my RV, fixing it up like a home. I'm doing roof repairs right now, leak repairs. That's my home. You know, everything I had, every money I had went to that. You know, and I don't feel like wrecking it up because I have to move because I'm on prescription that I need. So that's where I come from. This is why I haven't been at Lapis, because I've been able to stay 3 days on one spot and then move a little bit and 3 days on that spot. That gives me time to catch up with my medication.
So
That's what I gotta
there
say.
is no suggested hours, then you don't really have any input regarding what time limitations?
That's not the issue.
So what you're
The issue is
saying-
finding parking
Right.
and fuel cost and
Yeah, where you
maintenance
go.
on the vehicle. Maintenance on my vehicle is no joke. It's like working on a diesel truck. And it's harder to get to because it's in the rear end. You have to get in there from both the bottom and the bed. You open the bed up.
So unfortunately, you know, this is a prescription for an ailment that's not really going to give us much of a cure. But, you know, the hours is really going to depend on the function of wherever we're allowed to do it. Because like right here, we have to
You
be
have
gone
employees
because you
coming to
have-
work.
Exactly, so it's a form of function, and obviously we like as much time as possible. You know, give us as much 24 hours as possible. That is obviously the goal.
This law would work better for people who actually live in a car rather than an RV.
And that's what safe
that's a-
parking is really geared more
That's what a
toward.
good percentage of homeless people live in their vehicles and not in an RV.
Right, but you know, you need a place to put things. We're a tool-based society, and you just can't function without extra stuff, and having to be a turtle is just too difficult. And that's too big of a shell to carry around. And all the things that you have, that's how come you have camping. We're just not approaching it right. And I think that's the attitude mindset shift is,
How will you
something.
approach it?
well, we need to legitimize people for where they're at. If we could have been involved in the 22nd, the resolution that came out of the meeting on the 22nd, or whatever, close to that August, the first time around, with the department heads, and, you know, actually been able to be a stakeholder in the stakeholder realm. You know, because these are the lives you're directly affecting. It's only going to get worse for them. That's really the overarching issue is, well, not my problem. The city, I mean, because we're not really looking at the intentional or unintended consequences. They're not allowed to be anywhere else already. The county just needs to buck up and say, hey, you're unwanted, but I'm going to take you.
Walmart said they're not gonna let them park there.
No, and the sheriff's been hounding them to make sure that you tow people if they stay over like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, the sheriff's department came in. So first, I saw the police department come in. Now, I got information from somewhere else. The police department came in without permission from Walmart. Now, that is sketchy, in my opinion. And then I got information from a guy in the Walmart parking lot that used to work there, and who also lives in an RV. And he said one morning he saw a sheriff's deputy without his uniform on, but he could see his badge on his belt. They wear this badge down here. I guess when they're on duty, so this guy was on duty. He's taking pictures of the sign in the Walmart parking lot that says no parking overnight. And then he watched him go inside. And later on he talked to one of the management people who he also knows, and that sheriff said that he encouraged the management of Walmart to not let us stay. Totally out of his jurisdiction. And also the police department from Marina have been almost nightly on Lapis Road. And one time, there's a guy that I know who stays in his truck, and he said he came in on the north end, and this Marina police officer came in behind him, and he said he tailgated him in this freaky, scary way, like feet from his rear end, all the way down to the other end. He said the place that he normally parks, he didn't pull over because he was afraid that the guy was gonna pull over and talk to him. So he went all the way down to the other end of Lapis, thinking that he was gonna turn and go into Marina, and he made a left turn, and the cop followed him and did the same thing, all the way to the other end of Lapis, and followed him back onto Lapis, and all the way down. At that point, he pulled off, and the cop went away. So not only are I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't be talking about this, because this is in the past, but I think it's interesting.
The intimidation.
Yeah, it's not only
Right, and
out
it's
of
out of
jurisdiction,
jurisdiction.
which I think is illegal, like trying to enforce or harassing out of jurisdiction, I think is illegal, and he was harassing someone. Totally bizarre, and I wish I knew who the guy was, but I think I've seen him before because he did a weird thing to me as well.
Well, police harassing homeless people is nothing new.
Yeah, but out of
Well, it's
jurisdiction.
almost their
It comes
job.
down to open discrimination. We're so money-based, and we're not worried about people, and we're so consequence-oriented that it's like, well, not my problem, you deserved it. I mean, but we're setting
Yeah.
people up to fail, is what we're doing. And then we wonder, why do we have to come people to pieces?
But nothing's been done.
So I was
Homeless people just don't do anything, and they get harassed. Just,
just given
well, just
the,
like all kinds of
I
different
mean,
people
that's
in the past.
self-discrimination.
Yeah.
Well, it don't matter where you park that. We got harassed, we got a couple people calling in saying that we had needles around our
Yeah.
trailer, and I'm like,
Gun.
please take me in and test me, because that's definitely not true. And
There
they're
was,
always
there
trying to
was
get into the RV, and I tell them, no, you know,
There was a
you
report of
really
a
don't
gun
have no probable
at one
cause
point.
to come into my RV, and, you know, you have no warrant, no suspicion, no nothing, you know?
yeah.
And they pretty much just like, look at me like I should have no right to say no to them. And
Regarding this, if you should, haven't seen, but do you have a grievance program in there?
Right, and consequences, that again, you know, like what kind of consequences? 1 or 2 chances or something? Are they
Yeah.
extreme
Yeah.
consequences?
Right.
And that's not really gonna be spelled out in that. And a lot of this comes down to intention and, you know, sacrifice of
And there should be
working.
some representation from the people in the program. They should have someone that they can
Mm.
choose to
There you
be
go.
a representative.
Yeah, the department head thing, I really liked that
Right,
idea. I
Back to the
hadn't even
homeowners
thought of that.
association type of
Right.
attitude thing where
Yeah.
they kind of have weekly meetings or.
They've already
Least they
elected
start.
somebody temporarily.
Right, well, for this
Yeah.
program, there should be some kind of group that meets, that is not necessarily sponsored by, you know, I mean, they have to be their own entity, but they do need to meet. And I guess put the union in it as a tool
And
that
is
can be
this
a
a-
liaison with the county and the
Is this an
residents.
income-based program?
no, there's no fee
Okay,
whatsoever.
so,
Is there anything
We'll
to
work
do
for
with,
free.
is there anything to do with where you live?
No, as far as
Because I have a mailing address in Santa Cruz County, but it has nothing to do with where I live. It's my brother's house.
We haven't, okay, we'll take that, make sure that we consider that.
Because I don't want somebody looking at the application that I made and going, oh, you're not able to do this.
yeah, I would say, given the constraints of the political constraints and the legal constraints and all the constraints that we're stuck dealing with, this kind of feedback is exactly, I think, what would be helpful so that we can make sure that to the degree that we can incorporate, I don't know that we're politically at a place where we can just go straight to 24/7 parking, but I think that Jane has indicated her commitment to work towards some options for that. For where we are like today, right now, with the contract that's in front of us, or the development of this contract, any of these kinds of things, like a grievance program, clarification about whether it's income-based or fee-based, clarification about the restrictions on who can participate, allowing for some ability to have people communicate, you know, whether it's a point person or how that works. Those kinds of things I think are really helpful for I'm assuming, for you guys as.
And maybe-
With the
Forward.
provider.
Maybe considering another location. Because, like I said, I'm actually not sure if I can get in this parking lot.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah,
a
they're
lot of
saying
big
they'd like a
RVs can't get in.
Flat spot is their
And mine's,
big
you know,
concern.
it's weird.
And the
Yeah,
slope.
if an RV sits or a recreational or mobile home, sits uneven, a lot of the, stuff in there is not gonna work even if we have the, like, you know, our generator and stuff, like refrigerator, because of the tank in the back of the refrigerator has to be sitting straight up.
Has
So
to
if
be,
it's
yeah.
angled, it won't work. So that's
Yeah.
wasted food that people
The heater
use their
element.
food stamps, excuse me, it uses their food stamps, and waste food in the refrigerator, doesn't work. Also, I've noticed that my water heater doesn't work if it's on an angle, so you don't have hot water for whatever reason. So it has to be leveled off, or a way to be able to level it off.
The RV people have to pack everything up
Oh, yeah, cinch
before
it
they
down.
travel on the
Mhm.
road. And then pack it down and then travel and then maybe they'll unpack it. And then if they're gonna come back at 6, they
Right?
have to pack everything
Right.
down again.
Which
come back.
was an awful lot to ask for, and then also say, oh, and by the way, you're also gonna watch our place for us while you're there, right? Because that was the other piece, was watching Lapis Road for illegal dumping, and we'll.
They have been doing.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I
right,
remember
yeah.
that being said, actually,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, here's all this work, and by the way, also,
It's amazing,
Don't forget
they
volunteer
do
folks.
it, like they just did it recently, one of the bins right in front of me got filled to the top from almost nothing
oh, you're
in
kidding.
one night, and nobody noticed.
Told me about that.
At 3 o'clock in the
Well,
morning.
during the day, if they were doing
Yeah,
the
we're
day.
pretty
Drove down
aware
there
that
and
that's
filled it up.
going on.
It's
so-
construction refuse.
Wow.
Yeah,
Was
but
that
those
the-
were the same
that
guys that were
dumpster they
dumping
put
stuff
for
out
Lapis
there.
Road?
Yeah.
When you saw those cameras, I just got them
The
cameras
whole
on.
pickup truck came out at 3 o'clock in the morning, filled it up.
Why didn't they just put it on the ground like they used to, instead of filled up?
So that's been going on in Lapis Road forever.
Right, and
It's the road to
Jay
the top.
has some cameras too, and we had actually talked about that, like, you know, we could have point people in the middle and on the ends,
I would put one on my rig, it's 12 feet high, 12 or 13 feet high,
right?
and I could just point it straight down at the bin, 'cause it's right
Yeah,
in front of us.
you know, that would have been a benefit to a 24-hour program.
I confronted a dumper out there and got threatened.
Yeah, a lady, she came back and banged on the side of your
got pictures
RV a
right
couple
here.
times afterward.
And the police had to come out after the 3rd time she threatened me.
Wow.
Caught her, 2 women dumping right in front of my RV. Huh? Click, 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 click. I go out there, take a picture of the license plate, and says, if you don't put your stuff back in the car, I'm calling the police. Because I had pictures of you. Well, she did the right thing. She put everything back in her RV, our car, and she left. I says, okay, thank you. Well, 2 days later, she comes back to my RV and starts pounding on the windows and the door. I'm gonna get my bros out here, and we're gonna take care of you tonight. I told her, get out of here before I pepper spray you. And so she left, and that was 10 o'clock in the morning, and then 2 o'clock in the afternoon, she comes back and parks in front of my RV and slams her horn. And she had a couple girls with her, and then she keyed my RV, the paint job. And I just said, this is escalating more and more, so I had to call the police. And I said, I've been threatened, she keyed my paint job. And when we tried to do something right, the policeman was on my side, he jacked her up for about 30 minutes. And I didn't have a problem after that. But, you know, even when we tried to
So
stop
you were
people
able to
from-
call the police and they were able to come out and give you service?
when
'Cause
I
that's
called
one of
them,
the things they
That's
said they
good.
couldn't do on
I
Lapis
called them
Road.
up and I told them I caught this woman dumping and now she's threatened me, blah, blah, blah. I was talking to the police officer directly on
Sure.
his private
I
phone.
believe you.
And he
Yeah,
came
I
out
remember
there and he was already on my side because I was trying to help somebody from stop dumping. And then she started threatening me and stuff with her friends and says, I don't want to wake up tomorrow morning and have 6 flat tires.
Yeah,
That's how
the
they
thing.
Oh, man.
You know, they're
People
cowards.
feel that
man.
way about people on Lapis Road anyway. I've heard
Yeah,
all kinds of
call-
reports of people driving down, yelling things at them, harassing them, because it's an anti-homeless.
Yeah.
Sentiment, it's open discrimination.
And
Somebody said nuclear
and
waste.
it's actually, frankly, it's actually fomented by the reports we hear from the sheriff on television and everything, because when they talk about people, the first thing they mention is alcohol and drugs and needles and
Yeah.
garbage. And it's lost in that is that these are people. They're human beings and,
There aren't needles. They aren't out there.
yes, that's just a myth,
Yeah.
you
It's
know,
amazing.
to smear and paint people who are,
Almost 7 years
are
old,
down
I
on
don't
their
fight
luck.
anymore.
Yeah.
Right? And no more luck to be had.
So we've got about 10 minutes left, and I just want to make sure we have all of, that you guys have everything that you need to be able to work with. So are there additional questions that we want to ask, or feedback we want to make sure gets contributed?
Just pretty much
you know,
more than no time restriction, no being out by this time and this time. Also where it could go for, big RV pullers, whether it be pullers or RV drivable, level ground for them. Just consideration of people that are like even worse than I am medically. So like I have an asthma machine and everything, and I would like to be particularly by a certain person that she's just got out of the hospital from asthma, so that if she needs my asthma machine,
So being able to,
it's available to, it's because we want to help each other. There's a lot of us out that came from Lapis that a community. I mean, Amber and I, we left Lapis, but we had to because I couldn't do this medication and driving from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. But her and I have been watching each other's back, and so there is a community. Some of us that want to be in a community, be there for each other. Like I want to be there for Patrick's mom from when she has an asthma attack. She can use my asthma machine. She doesn't have one. I got a generator. I had to borrow money to buy a generator, but I bought a generator so that I could plug it into my machine and she can use it, I can use it because I have asthma too. Just that way to form a community and on a level ground, no particular time to be, out and about, especially when we're not wanted in any of the city, inside the city. And that's not fair. What are we supposed to do?
Another
Yeah.
suggestion that I got when the Lapis Road Homeowners Association were together, and they can get a business that will clean out the septic tank in their RVs. And they were talking about contracting where someone would come out once a week and empty out everyone's septic tank where it sits without them having to drive
Yeah,
anywhere.
that's cool.
And do that, and this service is available, and they were planning to pool their resources together so that everyone would get
A
service.
lot of cities in the Bay
Something
Area
like
do
that would be very helpful in this program.
If you go in front of Stanford
Toward 24
University,
hours.
For 2 miles, bump
Just
it
wanna-
over RVs.
Point out that there's a
They do
perfect
that for them.
slab. It's probably 2 blocks by 2 blocks up over here. And a lot of it's not flat, but just from driving by, it looked like some of it was flat or nearly flat.
Big parking lot?
And there's no way anyone is ever using that until they decide to put up some kind of huge building,
yeah, one of the big challenges, the counties, we have, on property that we own, we have, what's it called, the sovereign immunity.
There you
So
go.
the city doesn't have to agree with us to utilize a county property. So at this point, we don't have any cities that have said we want to support you or even agree to let you do this. So the county will be utilizing our sovereign immunity. But it limits our ability as to where we have to at least get started with. So, but that feedback, and I think the feedback about the flat property and the size of the property, as we continue moving forward, and this is something like Jane's committed to a lot of things, but like she's been unequivocal about her support for seeing this through, whether it's at Lapis Road, whether then getting the program here, following through with the CEQA analysis, getting to something where we have a 24-hour option. So I would just ask that you keep talking to us and keep working with us, and we have a lot of constraints that we've got to navigate through, like not having a city being willing to give us a permit, but we're working with the attorneys for the county, and we're working with our county staff to like in every nook and cranny that we can push and fight and
Well,
maneuver our way in. We're doing, we're trying to do everything we can.
I got a
So
question.
I
It's
just
gonna
want to
sound
thank you for your
stupid, though.
feedback.
I know this question's gonna sound stupid, but, you know, I mean, like, I pay taxes. Now, my taxes supposedly have gone to repairing roads and stuff like that, right? Am I right? Am I right? Now, these are the roads that are owned by the public, right? Right? Am I right? Am I right? Okay. So I'm paying taxes to get this road fixed, but yet I can't stay on there for like three nights.
It's because too many people are staying on there, so now.
But those other people have also paid their taxes for these roads to get fixed.
Because people use it, we have to stop people from using it. That's the logic here, isn't it?
At this point, there are regulations. They can't just change the
I
regulations.
have one
So
other
maybe we
suggestion.
maybe just go around and do final closing comments. I
Good.
want to make sure that I've captured what, and I know you guys are taking notes as well, but,
Yeah.
and I just want to be respectful of
I
everyone's
just
time as
want to
well.
throw one
wants
other
to be
thing
first.
on the table is that the, let's see, up in Oregon, they instituted a safe parking program in Eugene, Oregon. And it was, they set up like 20 different places all throughout the city and county that where they would have 3 or 4 vehicles parked in one place.
Yeah, that's a good
And
idea.
they were scattered throughout, but they were all managed by one program. There was one worker who was not a police officer, but connected, if there were any complaints, all the complaints went to him,
Right.
and he would try to solve any problems that were happening with the program. And they found immediate success with the program, that the complaints about camping violations dropped to 0, you know, well, not 0, obviously never 0, but went overnight by instituting this program. And whenever there was a problem between one of the people in the vehicles and a nearby business or resident, he could usually move them to a different location and move someone out so they'd have a better fit. And it solved problems
Was this
without
a
really
having.
cool.
24-hour program? 24-hour program?
Yeah, it was 24 hours.
Small number of
Just
people.
allowed
per
to be where
location,
they already
which is
were.
really clever.
So they just
They're
identified little
cooperators.
sites all over
There's plenty of
where
those.
people could be.
Yeah, I think
Especially
in small
this
groups
place.
here and there, that would be more controllable, more stable and trusting, more community, I would say, more community-like.
Absolutely, and that's actually, you know, Salinas Tent City was doing that for a while, and we've kind of been taking a break, but we still do it. We go to all these encampments around the city, and that's actually the whole thrust of the camping ban, because you just have to meet people where they're at with the means and resources that they have, and accept that they're on a slow slope going uphill, and more than likely they're going downhill in terms of finances, and that's going to put them in a worse situation. And that's why just stealing stuff and towing them away is not the way to go. We just need to let them be where they're at and then monitor them that way and have that connection. I love the community service officer connection. The consequences, I think, the micromanagement seems to be an intentionality that is just inherent in the business of getting paid to take care of people. And to be paid so minimally because of our competition-based system. That it really creates a lot of people with this, I've got the power of your life in my hand and you're basically meaningless and, you know, any rule at all, fling, you're gone. And there are people like that, and there are situations that happen, and I've seen it at the shelter, I've seen it, you know, people get unjustly done, people get done before the person really understands what's happening. And they don't really take the time, they're more reactionary rather than proactive in supervision and preventive. And that's nurturing. And how do you really pay somebody to nurture that much energy when they've still got to feed their own family and everything else too? But it's definitely a concern. I worry about, you know, the implementation of the management of consequences and that kind of thing.
Having a stabilized location also helps a lot of us, such as myself, for medical and dental appointments.
Yeah, I've been skipping my medical appointments.
Yeah.
A lot of medical appointments, such as myself, I had to have somebody else drive me back home because I was sedated. And that's why we live in groups for security. I just had my teeth worked on, I had to have somebody bring me back home.
That was me.
And that was for Rob, plus my age. Everybody's individuals out there. If there's a problem, we don't have friends, so we make friends out there. And for
Yeah,
our
if we
backup.
don't hear from him for like 24 hours, we're gonna come and check on him,
Yeah,
make sure he's
where's
okay.
he at?
He's not gonna be, his body's not gonna be rotting and stinking up after like a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Another thing Amber and I have been doing without really sharing with anybody because we don't wanna get nobody's hopes up high. We've been going to like horse ranches and everything in Primdale area and everything, trying to get some people set up there with RVs for, you know, security, overnight security. You know, kind of like who's ever able to work, but then there's and that'll be easy, that's easier for us to do, is the able-bodied ones, we could get them set up somewhat. But then there's the ones that are not able-bodied.
Right.
You know, they're the ones who can't, like, I'm going for disability myself. Because I'm not able to work out there and deal with people's stuff like I used to. And had a great gift for that too. But, and I know she does too, she has
You
the
get a
same
certain
gift.
age, they won't hire you.
But, so it's, you know, this whole parking thing really has to be considered a medical view. This disability, there's people that are not disabled, but they're under prescription for depression and anxiety. And then there's students. You know how hard it is to get into studying and everything. You get a knock from the officer, you have to move, you know, they gotta put all their books away and then pack up their RV and move and then unpack their RV, get their books out, get another half hour of studying before they have to go to sleep so they can get up the next morning and get that RV out.
It's an awful lot of stress.
It's a lot of stress. And there's a lot of young youth out there. It's not just certain age people that are out there being homeless or whatever you want to call us. There's students that are our future out there struggling. You know, what are we going to do? Give up on those? I used to watch these commercials, don't waste the brain, you know, don't let a brain get wasted. Well, that's what's happening when you're not giving these students an opportunity to study and everything, get the proper amount of sleep, get the nutrition they need. You know, they're even going for food stamps. Young students, and back in my days, there was no young people getting no food stamps. Now there is. They're being responsible, they're homeless, they're sleeping in their car, they're doing their homework, cops are harassing them, our own people are harassing them. So that's what I think we need to do, is we need to get a place that is considerate of disabled people, people with medical issue, people that are also into the education program. Give them some peace, give them 24 hours, give them some peace. The ones who need the peace for medical reasons, just give them to that. The students, they might just be there temporarily, like, they're our future. You know, they could be our congressmen, they could be our judges, they could be.
A lot of people out there have jobs. When Wes and I went up and were,
Oh, yeah, there's two people that could have come but couldn't.
so many people would say, oh, they work, and they had a car, and they go back and forth to work, and they come home to their RV at night, and it was a pretty high percentage.
And those people go right straight to
is
sleep,
it
like they ain't gonna sleep
like
about nobody.
Can they find a parking space where they can rent a space?
$70 a night.
And some of them don't even allow older,
Yeah, right down the road at Marina Dunes is $70 a night.
Yeah,
but they don't allow old
any
Oh, yeah, over
cars outside of
2
88.
Yeah.
31 foot or 88.
old, they won't let you.
Yeah, and they won't, a lot of these places won't let you in.
It's gotta be
The affordable ones,
less
the
than 10
affordable
years.
places, that does, the affordable,
That's how they
they
keep
won't
it
let an
affordable.
older RV. The ones that are, that allow the older RVs are not affordable.
Can I just say something really quick?
Businesses.
Yeah, and I'll
Yeah.
let Gordon, if you guys have any final questions that you want to ask, 'cause it's 2:30 now. And
I want to just say something really quick. When I was driving around looking at trying to find this place actually, originally another time, just looking, because I knew that there was a space somewhere around here. I saw a couple of spaces that are that black, I think it was black rock, kind of like gravel, shattered black rock, somewhere in this area over here that looked like they were level.
There's a lot of parking spots around
perfectly
here.
flat, yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff, I've walked around on that black rock in the rain before,
Yeah,
and it doesn't get muddy.
She's saying the problem is that if it's in the city of Marina
Yeah.
or the city of Seaside, they're not gonna let you use that, even if it's
That's the issue.
government
Yeah.
property that would work perfect.
And we're working on that. I hope that we can move past that, but
Yeah.
like today,
The
right now,
political
we're not
problem.
past that.
So that's why they're looking at this
Yeah.
lot, which
You
is.
got a new police
Yeah, I understand,
station.
I just wanted to point that out in case they didn't know.
Yeah, yeah.
So any other final, do you guys have any final questions?
Well, I would say that we are, of course, we do work for the Department of Social Services, and we want to do what we can to assist, to address your needs. We're here to get your input. It's good to hear what other concerns you have, so that we can, if in any way possible, integrate it into the agreement that we have for the safe parking program. But we have certain restrictions, and we're working with the area that's available to us at this point.
And the time frame that we have
Yes.
at us right now.
Yes.
A lot of these things, you know, we're working towards something to be implemented very soon. But we're also, you know, simultaneously working at something that would be more permanent in the future as well. So, you know, there's two paths.
So-
What comes together, you know, come the end of November may look different than whatever comes together for the program that.
You have a
comes
meeting
after
about
that.
this meeting.
Right. But you'll have
Well, meetings continue.
like a, you know, student body, a resident body for, you know, a counterpart of like representation as far as, you know, the group should have some kind of representation.
So, yeah, we have written down
Yeah,
that
we-
they want participant meetings of some sort, so that's a great idea. We'll keep that in mind.
Well, on behalf of Jane, I just want to say thank you all for continuing. We hear from most of you all regularly, and I appreciate the feedback, and it's helped us frame what it is that we're asking the staff to do. And then the staff, in many cases, are bending over backwards from all the different departments. So the feedback is, I feel like it's a really positive, like, cycle of communication. And so I know it's one more thing for everyone to have on their, you know, come to these meetings and participate and communicate. But it's very helpful for us to help figure out how we move forward and then fight the insides of the county.
See, like right now, I'm stressing what's happening to my RV while I'm sitting here, and I want to get back to my RV
Yeah.
like as quick as possible. But you know, if we get a community like I was explaining, we don't have to be under the stress. I could go to my doctor's appointment and sit down. You know how they make you wait. The last two doctor's appointment I had to cancel because the third one before that I was like, oh, like this, like, oh my God, are they going to tow my RV? And, you know, when I get out of this doctor's, you know, and I got to catch the bus, and then I got to walk to this other bus, and then by that time my RV is going to be shipped away.
Yeah.